Every night from Monday to Friday during the winter months, volunteers show up at this same place to distribute food to the poor. A glimpse at an increasingly alarming trend in the European Union.
We have actually a figure of 82 million people living in or at the edge of poverty. It is quite the population of Germany.
Kani Reuter, the Secretary General of Solidar, a European network of civil society organizations. He says the growing poverty in Europe is a serious problem and it will get worse before it gets any better. According to a recent data released by the World Bank, some 40 million in Europe and Central Asia will be threatened by poverty in 2010 alone.
The problem when it comes to poverty is a problem that is hidden. A hidden problem of poverty within families, because families do not dare to show that they cannot afford for going shopping, that they cannot participate in spending money, that the children have not enough to eat. So they go to school and hide it. And this, I think, is the biggest problem for us, that we have this kind of hidden poverty. The open poverty, you just need to go in the evening between 8 and 9 here in Brussels to Gare Centrale.
2 nights in a row we did go there to catch a glimpse of the so-called open poverty. We saw about 200 people each night, waiting online for a plate of hot food. Many of their faces can be seen on this footage due to the sensitive nature of the topic. We were repeatedly warned to be careful because they didn't like being photographed and because many of them reacted violently to the media's attempts to document and tell their story. But such a behavior, volunteers said, is understandable.
Imagine yourself deciding one day, well, then I'm going to queue and ask for some food. You can have also lots of people that, of course, due to several reasons are under alcohol, drugs, obvious problems can occur, so we need to cope with this.
Nicholas started volunteering 3 years ago at one of the 15 organizations in Brussels which take turns distributing food to the poor during the winter.
Well, it's very personal, the reason why you do that. What we all do is that we talk with each of these people, and each story is different.
One such story is that of Michael, who fled his native Nigeria in search for a better life.
Well, I came to Brussels because of the problem in Nigeria, especially war. I was able to escape through the Red Cross to Liberia, Guinea Conakry. I was able to find myself here.
But that's when the problem started for Michael. He applied for political asylum 3 years ago. And while his case has not been resolved, he has no place to go.
They took the papers. How can you walk? Because how can somebody employ you? You don't have even an identity card.
Michael says he likes the food distributed by various community organizations, but says the help is only temporary.
I like the food, but it's only for this winter period. Every day. After the winter period is after every 2 weeks.
Michael's story is unique and one of many in the melting pot of the ever-growing number of those living in poverty. Experts say the global economic crisis is one of the main reasons behind the trend. And while, as Nicholas says, there are many people willing to help, just how is the problem being addressed on EU level? The European Union has named 2010 the European Year to combat poverty and social exclusion. To do so, it has allocated 15 million euros out of its 120 billion euro budget. The question is, will that be enough? Kani Reuter says much more is needed and the funding has to be spent wisely.
Because there's a need for much more money. 15 million, this is what the Commission gives. This will be backed up by another 15 million coming from the member states. And we hope that this is not only spent for wonderful conferences.
A recent article published in the Wall Street Journal claims the European Union is not spending its budget wisely. One of the biggest critics, Marta Andreasen, a British MEP and formerly the European Union's chief accountant. In 2004, she was removed from the position due to her criticism of the system.
The system is left open to abuse, and a system that is left open to abuse will be abused. So if they don't want to call it fraud, well, what we are certain is that funds of European taxpayers are being abused.
Today, Ms. Andreasen continues her opposition from the benches of the European Parliament. Perhaps this holiday season will be better for those in need.
I hope, maybe.
Anna Moe, Press TV, Brussels.